Race committee, this is Laban V checking in. We have 4 souls aboard as listed.
Stand by, please.
Oh, stand by. See, I knew it. I checked in too early.
That's good. Point to us.
You guys having fun?
East done. Different kind of fun. Yeah. All right, this is the first video entry of our Pacific Cup journal. This is day 2. Yesterday was a good day. There wasn't much video to take once we got past the gate. It was a beautiful day. Headed out with about 24 other boats, and within about 2 hours we were behind all but one of them. We saw one boat turn back, actually. I don't know totally what happened, but I think maybe they had some mechanical failure. We heard radio from another boat today that they're in a little bit of trouble. But other than the nauseous level of our crew, we're dynamite. We munched away about 170 miles in the last 24 hours, so that's ahead of our expected pace. There's about 9 feet of swell last night, 25, 30 knot winds. It was a pretty hardcore sail, and she did great. Mary and I didn't fare so well. We spent most of the night throwing up, but we've got our sea legs today. Thankfully, Andy and Tessa were picking up our slack last night, and today is a easy breezy day. 15 knots, almost no swell, blue, beautiful sky, and no land to speak of. We're almost 200 miles offshore now. About 1,800 miles to Hawaii that way, and we haven't seen a boat in our fleet for probably a good 7 or 8 hours. There's another set that heads out tomorrow. Woo, good wave. So they'll probably catch up to us by maybe Friday or so. So we'll check back in tomorrow with some updates, but all is well today. Yeah, so today we had a couple of firsts. Today we flew the Spinnaker. It was fun. The wind was light, so it was safe to do that. And then Andy caught our first fish. Caught a really big mackerel or a tuna, something from the tuna family. It was yummy. We had some sashimi. We are fat, happy, got plenty of drinks to go around, and about 1,500 more miles of ocean to cross. So we've had this fun little thing going on. We have a daily snack bag that comes out every day, and there's this really cute postcard that Madison has written to us every day. And one of them's, don't look back because you're not going that way. Well, today's was, are you bored? Don't worry, something will break. I don't want to say necessarily something broke, but when we had to bring the Spinnaker sail down, it was a little on the stubborn side. Took us about an hour to get it down. We got some beautiful shots of this big, huge red sail just flying up, pulling us about 2 or 3 knots faster than when we were just flying our regular head sail. We got a long night watch ahead of us. I mean, we're going to sleep most of the day tomorrow, so you might hear from someone else tomorrow on our daily diary here. Until then. And what about the most surprising thing you weren't expecting?
That we're beating more than one boat. So we're not dead last. We're better than that. We got a few boats behind us.
So I wanted to talk a minute or two about this adventure that we call sailing, because I think a lot of people get not the wrong impressions, but maybe just not the right impression about what we're up to when we're out here sailing to Hawaii. It sounds very romantic and relaxing and warm ocean breezes the whole way. Well, we're here on day 5, and I have not gotten out of my wool socks, my long underwear, my rubber wool insulated gloves, and my beanie. It's been cold, and that was to be expected. We're out here in the Pacific Ocean. We're, sailing off the coast of California, still 1,500 miles away from Hawaii. So the conditions are not, sweaters tied over your shoulders and bikinis. Maybe we'll get there in a few days, but I don't think parkas and long john flannels are what most of you have in mind when you hear about Mary and I and the rest of our family going sailing. We love it, don't get me wrong, I'm not asking for your pity, but just know that when you hear about us going sailing next time, think of us more in this attire than board shorts and flip-flops, because this is what it's about out here. Day 7, 6th night, Sunday. We're about a weekend. We're almost halfway through, and we finally got what we signed up for, which is blue sky, no clouds, downwind. It's beautiful. The most surprising thing has been how none of our plans have gone to plan, but we've still made do. We had a night watch plan that went all to hell the first night because everyone was seasick and we went into survival mode. We had a sail plan which said we were going to go down the California coast and then turn right, and we've done nothing but basically go straight west away from California. We haven't even turned. We've basically gone 1,000 miles straight. Haven't tacked a single time since leaving the San Francisco Bay Area. I guess the meal plan has gone according to plan, right? We haven't made too many big adjustments to the meal plan. Andy caught a fish, which was a nice supplement to the meal plan. No, you caught a whole fish. So we only consumed 3/4 of it. Because I threw it away accidentally, okay? You guys have it all on tape now. There we go. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be continuing doing all the work, Matt, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it's good to be catering to our wives consistently throughout this trip, whether it be on video or not. Let me tell you how I got the autopilot working.
That's a good story.
We are approaching the halfway party, which I have great plans. I've brought inflatables, I have brought decorations, and tequila. And we will have the photo that I'm quite certain just might make second place. We're awaiting Mary's night watch to identify the closely passing tankers and lightly shifting winds. So, with adieu, I wish you and bid you farewell.
Yep. On
Cheers.
day... Help me out, brother.
Day 9.
The day after our halfway party.
Yes.
That's how I can remember it.
We didn't document any of our halfway party yesterday other than our photo,
We got some GoPro.
which is good.
Yep.
Got our salute and our donation to Neptune.
You can see some of the remnants of the halfway party, our flamingo friends, and a few lays and shot glasses. It was a good time.
Yeah. Oh, so you're asking what is the best jury rig that has been completed so far on this voyage? We did fix Hal
Yeah, that one's got my vote.
multiple times.
What was going on with Hal?
So Hal is disruptive. He's been known for being disruptive. It seems that usually he's disruptive maybe 4/5 of the time. Nonetheless, this time he decided to go from 4/5 to 1/5 and be completely erratic in his operation, where we would pretty much he'd get us confident, right?
Right? Yeah.
1, 2, sometimes even 4 hours of confidence, where he would just wait for your guard to go down, and then he would completely round up or just hold the helm in a single position and have the wind change its complete angle on the sails.
He made Mary and I almost do a complete 360.
Yeah.
We tacked over the wind, and then we almost jibed across it again, too.
So nonetheless, the
Hal.
boat doing a 360, the crew would do a 360 in this escapade of events of trying to push down his manual activation plunger, because he is vintage 1988, which is actually the youngest of all of us.
I know.
And then disengage his manual electrical switch over there. So yeah, nonetheless, there's multiple fixes on him. The first fix we attempted, or we found out, was his bracketry was loose.
Right.
So we had to tighten up his bracketry on the rudder post. And yet to no avail, he was still not functioning very well. And so we finally found, what, ladies? Part that was broken?
Cock ring.
His cock ring was the technical term for his Delrin seal that went essentially right along his, what was the Delrin seal attached to?
His shaft.
His shaft.
Yes.
Yes,
Shaft.
his shaft, or his piston rod.
Meat piston.
Whichever technical term you prefer, but nonetheless his cock ring slid off his shaft from the base where it's supposed to be.
It's terrible.
So we
No
found
wonder he didn't work.
We found it up by the tip. And what that apparently was doing was it was causing it to get misaligned, which was kind of making his shaft crooked, like really crooked, to the point where it wouldn't work. So how do we get that Delrin seal back down that piston, or the cock ring at the base of the shaft again?
A lot of lube.
Yeah,
That was the first step.
a lot of lube.
But that still wasn't working.
No, so we had to get this rope, and we tied it around his shaft, and then I was pulling on it with all the force I could to get the cock ring back in the seal. And I couldn't, so I had to grab my brother to help me.
Took both of us.
So both of us had to wrap a rope around his shaft, and we both leaned against it and pulled as hard as we could until the cock ring seated right at the base.
But Hal has never been happier since.
Since then, we just logged, I think we just checked, it was 38 miles of wing-on-wing performance at exactly.
The exact bearing that we told Hal to take.
Yep. And no hiccups. He is satisfied and working magnificently.
But
So
when we were breaking bread tonight, we were talking about our first night, which not every night has been like this with sunsets and rum shooters. The first night had 30 knots of wind and 10-foot swells, and Mary, who has never gotten seasick a day in her life, or even motion sickness for that matter, was throwing up down below. I don't want to say any of us were terrified, but we were certainly worried if that was going to be the conditions for the entire trip, right?
Yep.
Did anyone else have any concerns that went through their mind about what we faced that
I was
first
just
day?
worried about the boat.
Yeah?
I figured the seasickness would, if there was concerns of that, focus on that later on.
What, when you say you were worried about the boat, what were the worst case scenario things going through your mind that would possibly break in those conditions?
Every single thing we have touched since we've bought this boat.
Like, oh my gosh, maybe we didn't do it right, or we didn't do it.
The only warranty on everything we've done is that we've done it ourselves. So if it fails, we take full ownership on it. But we really have no true factual specific training on fixing boats. And we've been trying to fix this boat for 3.5 years. So,
now you're
you
telling
know,
me
with the pounding of the waves and the huge amount of water that just would find itself on deck. The waves weren't big, they were just so damn steep that it would just plop water on the deck. It wouldn't be this monster wave that would come, it would just all of a sudden land on the deck and there'd be 6 inches of water running along the entire foredeck towards the cockpit to take out pretty much whoever was at the helm, which 90% of that time was Tessa.
Yeah.
And
gets the most music.
and with words of, there's water coming in from the windows, and what's the water coming in from there, from below, from Mary, which I hear water coming in, I don't know where or what, but I'm thinking a hole ripped in the keel or something that we took off a couple of years ago, not drips coming from one of our Dorads. Oh, okay, we can manage that.
Well, it was a good thing we persevered, because here we are, day 9. This is maybe our 3rd or 4th day in a row of white puffy clouds and steady breezes from our stern, and just really, really enjoyable cruising. So we're trying to make this as much of a race as we can. We're watching where the other boats are. We're actually in the middle of the pack right now for our division, which is fun. But that's the side story. The main story is that this cruise has been what it was billed as, which is gentle, enjoyable downwind sail to Hawaii. So 5-6 more days we'll be there, and then we'll probably be talking about when we're going to be doing this again. All right, cheers, bro.
Cheers.
Cheers, ladies.
Well, so Andy wants to know if we could assign one word to each of our captains on board. And so the first thing you need to know is that we are a boat full of captains, and everyone has an opinion. So if I were to go first, I would say Tessa would be, I would call her Animal. Because all she does is drive 24/7. She's Animal, like from the Muppets. If I were to move on to Andy, it would be Cocaine. Because he never sits down. He's always doing things. So we'll just call him Senor Cocaina. Let's see here. Matt. Matt's new name for the boat and for driving would be Marathon Matt, which he is presently taking to the bedroom as well after this very long voyage without sex. So, if I were to assign myself something, it would be Safety Sally, because I am just constantly in the cockpit biting my nails about what everyone else is doing.
What have I missed?
Yeah.
Probably being able to exercise.
Yeah.
Been pretty lazy on the boat, so I haven't been able to like hike or run or do something. So I'm feeling a little bit confined in that way. So swimming, I'm looking forward to swimming.
Ooh, yes.
What did we need more of on this boat that we didn't
Brownies for Tessa. Hence all the running.
Maddie, I love your brownies. I ate them all.
Okay. As a sailor, there are 2 questions I get asked all the time, and one is, are you afraid of pirates? And the other is, have you ever seen the green flash? And I always laugh at both of those, like those are the dumbest questions I've ever heard in my life. Because I thought they were both urban myths. But on this trip, we saw the green flash. It exists. It actually happened. I was going to say that the passage has been magical.
Oh.
It's very cool to be propelled across an ocean by a kite when you're trailing bioluminescent sparkles across the ocean. That feels very magical indeed. So it has been a very cool trip. And dolphins and rainbows and so.
We've been blessed on this trip.
Yes. The ocean was kind to us, except for the first night.
I had a frightful moment the first night. I was seasick, thrown up like twice in 3 hours. Mary was even sicker than I was, and I couldn't help her. Like, there was nothing I could do for her, because to help her meant to go down below deck, which was what made me sick. So I was frightened that I was not going to be able to not just carry my weight, but help not just the crew, but my wife when
she needed something. I didn't know how long that was going to last. You know how it is when you're sick, you feel like nothing's ever going to change. It's going to be that way the whole time. And we had a long voyage ahead of us. So that was the only time I was frightened the entire trip.
It was when she flew off the toilet seat.
That was mine. I called dibs. There was one time this entire 14 days I thought we'd have to turn around. And what I remember is being at the helm, and the lights were down on below. It was dark up top, but I was able to see clearly down below. It's like looking in like a house window when it's dark outside, but the lights are on inside. I wouldn't know anything about that. And all I saw is Mary shoot out from the bathroom, heels and butt first, into the cabinetry on the port side, shelving of the boat.
I remember hearing something too, like find your inner firecracker and try and repeat the sound you heard.
Boom!
Oh.
No.
Maybe? I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember.
Wait, what do we call the head?
Well, the pit of despair shot her out into the cabinetry, and the reason was the toilet seat that I actually identified as broken maybe 10 minutes prior to that, officially broke on her and slipped off the toilet seat and was like just a slip and slide midstream
Booby trap.
onto the leeward side of the boat. And
Right into my room.
and the crash was what made me think, oh geez, this is the one thing that's going to turn us around. But thankfully Matt ran down and confirmed that there was no serious injuries, just multiple bruised egos, which has happened many times amongst all the crew in this trip. And thankfully we did not have to turn around with that. So
How many boats did ultimately end up turning around?
I can think of at least 6 boats that have either did not start the race or had to turn around. So
like
10%.
10% of the fleet did not make it to Hawaii for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
But not us and our firecrackers.
Well, we ain't there yet, team, but we're getting there. I think this is just a downhill stretch.
To being within rescue distance.
Yes. If
So
something
then-
happens, there's help on the way.
28!
Wow. Less than 100 feet, guys.
18 meters! 9 meters! 34! Cheers, guys! Made it to Hawaii.
Hello, Wahoo.
Woo!
Get the tequila! Tequila!
Sorry, you're getting nasty my time.
Tequila!
I think we all want it.
I don't.
Well, no, but
Well, you may not want it, but you need it.
all right.
You don't want it, but you're getting it.
You're gonna get it. That's right.
You're gonna get it.